Nice.
So that's a John Sally version. He was another Kentucky fiddler.
Yeah. Wow. That's nice. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You want to start with the interview now, Tatiana?
Sure.
Okay. And then you're still going to do a video for me. Um, and that's my son here. He just popped in here. uh, okay. Let me ask you the first question. Do you think it's important for a fiddler to concentrate on a particular regional style?
That's a good question. I think it's really important to understand that that is an important part of traditional music.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, sorry.
That's okay.
I think there's the regional styles have changed a lot, I think, as access to different regions has become broader. And that doesn't mean that there still are regional differences in communities,
Right.
Still following these traditions. But I think it's definitely something that has changed because of access. But it's definitely important as students of fiddle music to know what region and what kind of makes up that regional style.
Right.
You're going to be playing something from that. I grew up going to a lot of fiddle camps where, you're learning a bunch of different fiddle music from a bunch of different regions and continents. And I never really understood the importance of regional styles until I experienced it for myself. And I think that's something that could maybe be different about the way that fiddle music is taught at camps.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because sometimes it just gets all blurred together, which is, part of this natural process, but also you don't want to be doing it without knowing where it comes from.
Right.
Or knowing about the people who it comes from, who often aren't being represented in a lot of cases. So.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting how everything the regional styles like that. I think it's important too that people understand that and kind of study that a little bit even.
Mm-hmm.
You, how do you improvise a lot, don't you?
I improvise some, yeah.
Okay. Well, how would you explain the like a melodic variation? Do you compose it in your head when you're doing it, or do you plan it out a little bit, or let's say, how does that come to you if you're improvising?
That's a really good question. I think about this a lot as a teacher because a lot of times, you're taught a very specific way.
Right.
And then you play, a lot of students just play that way forever
Yeah,
And
right.
so I realized that even though for a long time, especially when I was little, I would always say, oh, I can't improvise. I don't improvise.
Yeah.
Because I thought improvisation meant having to be able to take all this like complicated theoretical music stuff and like make
Right.
this fancy solo out of it. And I realized like, oh, that's not always the case with improvising.
Yeah.
I think for me, a lot of improvising within fiddle tune structure comes from muscle memory from other tunes. So knowing patterns, knowing all like so many tunes, and then being able to kind of pull out these patterns
Right.
that can work in other tunes. I think that's something that I use a lot. Also, learning different versions, sometimes different regional versions of the
Right.
tune, and then I definitely get a lot from listening to old source recordings. There's
Yeah.
so much to learn there.
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely like I'll take variations and kind of like put them in, and then ultimately, even if I'm trying to imitate someone else, I'm going to start sounding like myself at some point.
Yes.
A lot of it is unconscious. I might take a certain variation I like, and then the more I play it, it just gets a little bit farther away from the source, and it just
Yeah.
becomes my own thing. So there's that kind of more like melodic improvisation, and then as far as improvising on bluegrass, like on a bluegrass fiddle solo, for example, there's
Yeah.
definitely like certain patterns and like chord structures, and it's pretty much the same process for me.
Yeah.
Taking some ideas from like source recordings, and then eventually it kind of turns into my own thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I've always often thought about how other fiddlers, how they improvise and where does that, come from and everything. I think, like you said, there's a lot of patterns you gotta know and from other tunes and stuff like that. What's the most important element in fiddling? Do you think it's bowing or timing?
Ooh. I would say it's listening.
Okay.
Because if you're not listening, especially if you're playing with other people, none of it's going to matter in the long run. So being able to listen and respond, and that could be with timing, that could be with bowing,
Right.
but being able to listen to the other musicians around you and to figure out how you fit into that, um, and kind of adjust your playing based on who you're playing with. I think that's a really important thing that often gets overlooked. Um, because if you can do that, then the bowing and the timing that will kind of come naturally if you're listening to all the people around you, especially if you try to surround yourself with musicians who are better than you, which I think is the best thing to do because then you just
Yeah.
soak it up, you know? It's like learning a language. Immersion.
Exactly. Yeah. Like playing with Daryl or Bruce, it's like, wow, man, where do these guys get this stuff from? It's wild. Uh, what kind of fiddle? Oh, I already asked you what kind of fiddle you're playing, right?
Yeah.
What about what kind of strings do you use?
I use Diodarios. Right now I'm using Helicors. Um, and it's great, especially for a 5 string, because you can get them in a pack of 5.
Okay.
Um, and I'm just starting to kind of explore with strings more. Um, I haven't been able to much in the past, but I'm excited to try out maybe using a viola C string instead of just the 5 string C string, and then
Right.
play around with maybe try out the heavy gauges because right now I've been using mediums, and I've heard from a lot of people that they prefer heavy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to exploring that a little bit more.
Okay. What does your practice routine look like?
It depends. If I have a gig, if I have, okay, so it depends on if I have a gig and if so, what type of gig it is. So let's say it's for a bluegrass gig, I'll practice either play along with recordings or with the metronome, trying to kind of try out some different ways, like try playing a solo like as many different ways as I can think of, just to
Uh-huh.
kind of go through all the different options. And I may or may not, I usually don't work up solos ahead of time, but just like practice improvising over the chord progression.
Right.
I'll do that. If that's for like a specific bluegrass gig. If it's for a specific like old time gig, like in my duo with Allison DeGroot, it's usually um, practicing the tunes that we're gonna do. If I don't have anything coming up, sometimes I struggle structuring practice time, but I'll do anything from trying to practice, Bach to learning new tunes, or I'm trying to just like work on bow control. Sometimes I'll like just improvise and or, like do a free improvisation and record myself, and then maybe a tune will come out of that. So it takes many different forms. I'm definitely not the best practicer. My brother is a lot better at having a structured practice time.
Yeah.
Um, but so it really depends on what I'm feeling excited about at the moment, whether it's about wanting to learn new tunes or whether I have a gig coming up.
Do you compose as well?
Some, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and what about your teaching? Do you teach? You have like local students, and do you teach on a Skype or online lessons too, and all
Yeah,
that?
I do a combination. I teach bluegrass fiddle at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, and I also teach students around. I live in Durham, North Carolina, so I teach students out of my house, and then I also have several Skype students that I do. And again, ranging from old time to bluegrass. Yeah, but teaching, it's a nice thing to do when I'm not on the road.
Yeah, yeah. Who are some of your musical heroes?
That's a big one. Well, there's definitely people who have influenced me a lot when I first started playing and getting really excited about playing. I mean, people like Bruce and Daryl and Brittany Haas. They were probably like some of the biggest influences on me when I was first getting into playing old time music. More recently, Laurie Lewis has been a really big support and mentor to me. Especially like I never thought I could play bluegrass fiddle, and she told me I could. And I wouldn't be, I grew up around bluegrass, but I always told myself I couldn't do it. And then Lori just was like, yeah, you can. And she made me do it. And now I do it. So, and I've always loved her music, and she's such an inspiring person. I've been working a lot with Alice Gerard around here in Durham, and Alice is both her solo career and her work with Hazel Dickens is very inspiring. Let's see, who else? Well, I get really into like listening to, old fiddlers that maybe I've never been able to meet. So I mentioned this fiddler, Cooge Bertram. He was a African American fiddler from around Monticello, Kentucky. I've been really excited about learning some of his music and learning about him. And so that's within the old time and bluegrass world, some specific people.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Where does your inspiration come from? Your personal inspiration? Where do you get your inspiration from, musically and otherwise? What makes you tick?
I think a big part of it for me is getting to play music with other people. If I'm by myself for too long, I stop playing because it's just not. I don't really see the point in it. So definitely, like it's a very social thing for me. Also, as I get more interested, I get really excited about finding, like, going down these kind of rabbit holes and finding the roots of different fiddle tunes or the stories behind certain, well-known musicians, and really digging in. And oftentimes there's a story that hasn't been told before. So it's been really insightful, and I've learned a lot from trying to kind of learn about some of these lesser told stories of people. Oh, sorry, someone's calling me. Of people who maybe haven't been in the spotlight. So trying to learn about them and maybe talk about them a little bit on stage or in my lessons, and start to have people kind of look a little bit more critically at who's behind. Like Ralph Stanley, like he learned from his mom, and Bill Monroe, he learned from the women in his family and Black musicians in the area. So, but he's the face of bluegrass music. So kind of like looking behind, like who are the public faces and seeing who's behind them, and that gets me really inspired to play music, as well as kind of dig a little deeper into the stories behind the music that I'm playing.
That's interesting. Hey, can you play a bluegrass tune right now?
I could try, yeah. Let's see.
Is anything off the cuff?
All right, I could play a Kenny Baker tune.
Oh yeah, I love Kenny Baker.
And this is a tune that he plays called Brandywine.
nice, real nice. Wow. What advice would you give to a beginner fiddler, like one of your students, if they were, getting frustrated and wanted to give up? What would you tell them?
I would say find someone who's in the same boat. Try to find someone, because there's always going to be people who are in the same place as you are,
Right.
and join forces with them, and
Okay.
hold each other accountable. I would say, because that's always for me when I feel um, insecure about playing or whatever. If I
Right.
find someone, I usually if I talk to someone, even someone that I feel insecure around, if I talk to them, they probably are gonna say they feel the same way.
Right.
So it's finding kind of solidarity in other folks who are also doubting themselves musically. I
Yeah.
think that's always helpful.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah, I agree with you. Do you think there's a difference between talent and skill?
I don't believe in talent. I think that's a load of bullcrap.
Right.
um, I think it comes down to not just hard work, but also what opportunities you've been given.
Hmm.
I've been really lucky, and my parents supported me and drove my brother around to camps and festivals and all over the place so we could play music. And
Yeah.
that gave me all this time when I was younger where I practiced and played. And that's brought me to where I am now. And I have friends who, they really love music now, and um, but they didn't have that growing up. So some of them aren't in the same place as they want to be, but they've worked really hard to get where they are. So I think it's a combination of hard work and, uh, what access you've had in your life to opportunities and learning situations. Yeah,
Do you think it's ever too late to start playing an instrument?
definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Really.
learning an instrument is such an exciting thing to be able to do. And as a teacher, I've taught beginners of all ages, and I love adult beginner students because they're so excited about playing and they work so hard, and it's just such a thrill to get to teach someone like that.
Yeah. Okay, Tatiana, I have one more question. If you could ask any fiddler, living or dead, any question, what would it be?
Ooh, hmm. All right, let me think here. Hmm. There's a couple different routes I could go down. I could go down
Yeah.
asking someone about a technique that they do, or asking them about something culturally that maybe only they would know. So I'm trying to figure out which question I'm going to say out loud right now. um,
Okay, two questions then. You can give them two questions.
okay. Hmm. This is a really there's so many things I would want to ask. Okay, I'm gonna try to just first thing that comes to mind. Okay. I would love to ask. There's a fiddler from there's a fiddler from Kingsport, Tennessee. He recorded in the 1920s. His name was John Dykes, and his band was called Dykes' Magic City Trio. And I love his playing. And I would, well, I guess it would probably be more. I would love to watch him play. But I would ask him. Um, I feel like a lot of the questions that I would have for a fiddler that I've never been able to met would be answered by watching. Because I would want to know how he how he approached bowing, because you can kind of hear it on the recordings, but I would love to watch and see how he's actually bowing things. And also to see like how physically he bows, because you know, a lot of people, I've definitely had some like arm pain and stuff, and his playing is so driving. I would love to know like how he uses his arm to play that doesn't hurt his body.
Yeah, that's what I like to ask Michael Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good. What would you ask Bach?
What would I what?
What would you ask Johann Bach?
What Bach? Oh God. Um I would ask him what kind of music he liked to dance to.
Ah, good. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Okay, well, that's all the questions I had, Tatiana. Um, I appreciate doing the that you taking the time to do this interview
Yeah.
with me. I really appreciate that. And if you could do that video, you know, a teaching video, I'll embed it in the magazine in the next issue that'll be coming out in April.
Okay.
I do quarterly. I used to do monthly, but it just got too overwhelming.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of work.
So I do quarterly now, and yeah, if you can do that. And what is your email that I can get you send you this, and then I'll send you my email and all that.
It's dragonfiddler@comcast.net.
Okay.
And then one other thing I just want to mention is I have a CD coming out in March with Alison DeGroot. It's a fiddle banjo duo album, clawhammer, banjo, and fiddle. And it's coming out with Free Dirt Records on March 22nd.
That's my birthday. Yeah, I knew that. I saw that on your site.
Yeah,
I'm
mention that.
I will definitely mention all of that.
Yeah, and then I also have another album coming out in June with a bunch of, actually some of my roommates, and it's a little bit more, it's a full band, and it's kind of a bluegrass old time crossover album, and it doesn't have a name yet, and the band doesn't have a name yet, but something to look out for if you're interested in more like bluegrass.
Yeah.
There's a couple of Texas tunes on there as well.
Okay. Can I? I'll point them to your website and everything. And if anybody do you have like anybody that wants to take lessons from you? Can they just get on your website? And is there anything there?
You can contact me through my website.
Okay.
I'm usually respond within a couple weeks, depending on whether I'm on the road or not. So.
Right. Okay. So yeah. When do you, I don't want to pressure you, but when do you think you'll be able to get that video? It'll be before April, though, right?
Oh yeah, I could. Yeah, it might be helpful to have a reminder from you at some point, because I'm not going to be able to do it in the next couple weeks.
That's fine. That's great.
Maybe like end of February, I might be able to do it.
Perfect.
I mean, I don't have. I know Bruce and Daryl have like full recording equipment set up. I would just be doing it on my computer.
Yeah, you could do it just like
mirrored, so it's a little awkward because it's like a mirror image, but if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I mean, right now everything looks perfect. What are you doing on your PC, or you?
Yeah, I have my Mac, but it's not a mirror image for you right now, or?
No, it looks perfect to me.
All right, so I'll just do something on my computer and send it your way.
Okay, and then I'll send you my email and all that stuff in the next couple of days. And is it okay if I take a snippet of this and post it like you playing that bluegrass at Kenny Baker tune and kind of starting promoting you?
Sure.
That I'll be doing this in April. I'll kind of drip it out there over time until the issue, because I got
or I could send you a video that's of my duo with Allison that's a little bit more
Wow, if you that would be great if you could do that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I could send you either a YouTube link, or I have I think a MP4 file I could send you.
Either one. You
Okay.
know, that's perfect, Tatiana. I really appreciate that. And okay, well, that's it. I'll be getting in touch with you via email now.
Great. Oh, one other thing.
Sure.
Since you're based in Texas, I'm going to be teaching at the Live Oak Fiddle Camp this
In
year.
Hallettsville.
Yeah, so if you want to mention that, and maybe there'll be some people that would be interested in going to that camp.
When is that going to be?
Let me look at the exact dates. It's end of May, so it'd be the May 26th through 30th.
You know what? Hallettsville is only about 30 miles from where I live.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to probably go to that, and I'll meet you there.
Great.
Well,
Yeah, I had to go to the Athens Fiddle Contest before. I think it's that weekend before. So
right. Wow. Okay, that's cool. That's great. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll mention all of this stuff, and anything else you can send me, I'll send you my email shortly, and just get I'll in some promo pics and that video with you and Allison
great.
and all that stuff, and we'll get this thing rolling.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, Tatiana, and thanks a lot.
Yep. Okay, bye.
Bye bye.